This video contains some harsh language and a bit of gore. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. K. Sardonicus, and welcome to my Vault of Horror. Everybody, welcome to Mr. K. Sardonicus's Monster Fest. This is going to be an October, all-month-long event that everybody is going to be able to enjoy on all of my platforms. And today is the first video on YouTube of my event. This is my personal horror journey 6. And this time we're going to be exploring the horror within our television sets. Whether it was the 80s, the 90s, or the 2000s, I'm going to be exploring some of that. Now, I know more about 90s and 2000s horror television because I was born in 92, but this is going to be a huge retrospective, and we're going to have some commercials in the middle of it that will bring back your nostalgia. So without further ado, let's get into this intro. Now, before we begin this retrospective and this personal journey into my life with horror, please like, comment, subscribe, and also click that new hype button because for some reason that seems to be working with the algorithm. Comment all your favorite horror TV moments, whether it was a commercial or a TV show or anything like that. Next week, I will be covering horror TV shows from the 90s, so be prepared for that. But for right now, we're just going to be talking about TV shows, commercials, all that stuff. Everything that we got to see as kids. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, let me get started with the fact that I was born in 1992. Not the 80s, but close to it by 3 years. The thing is that I still got to enjoy peak cable television with HBO, Cinemax, Starz, all the channels that were involved in the premium cable back then, and to this day, I had access to, thanks to my late father. And I remember seeing so many different horror movies on these movie channels. I come across them while just passing by inside our house, and lo and behold, we would have either like Fright Night from 1985 that's playing on our television, or that 80s movie House, the horror comedy. I don't remember the exact year, but I know it was from the 80s, which is an amazing quadrilogy, by the way. All 4 movies are great, and I saw quite a few of them on these channels. And let's not forget Sci-Fi Channel, Chiller, and a few other ones. I seriously think that horror lived on those channels for a good reason, because there were so many different shows that I was able to discover, like Tales from the Dark Side and Monsters and even Freddy's Nightmares. Like, there was a time where, back in the early 2010s, Chiller Channel was still a thing, and they were showing reruns of Freddy's Nightmares. Which, I gotta say, it's an underrated show, and that's the thing. Freddy's Nightmares also came out in the 80s, and there was a big controversy with that show because of what time it aired and what the content was on it. I could go really deep into that, but it would take for fucking ever. But not to mention all of the TV spot trailers that we had of horror movies back in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. It was different. It was really different than what we have now. And I seriously think that back then, back in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, cable television impacted horror in so many different ways. Not to mention all the Halloween stuff that was going on cable television back then. You don't really get that anymore. You don't get original Halloween animated cartoons very much anymore on cable television. They either go straight to streaming or they just don't exist. Like, even AMC's Fear Fest, aka Monster Fest, even that doesn't feel like it has as much soul as it did back in the 90s and the 2000s. And, even the Sci-Fi Channel 31 Days of Halloween, it doesn't feel the same anymore. Like, the soul has been sucked out of it completely. And that's why I appreciate these amazing channels that I came across back in the day, and all these commercials and advertisements and movie trailers, and all these like little short horror specials from back in the day. I seriously think that we're missing a lot of soul in a lot of what cable television has to offer. But seriously, I think that it needs a revival in some way. I think that what horror on television has become needs to go back a little bit. And that's why I'm glad about physical media coming back full throttle. We got people getting CRT TVs again to play their old consoles or to play their VHS players and collecting VHS tapes. I'm getting back into collecting VHS tapes. And I'm excited to get back into it because it's just not the same anymore. And I seriously think that if we could find a way to bring it back, and we kind of have some things to like hold on to remember how good it used to be. Like, especially Joe Bob Briggs with his last drive-in specials that happen on Shudder every month. Like, he is pretty much one of few icons from cable television's past that is still trying to keep this shit alive. So, like, I just hope that we can get that shit back to where, like, we're not having to rely on streaming services all the damn time. It is so sad what has become. And I seriously think that horror, gets impacted by shit like that sometimes. These days, a horror movie trailer or something like that has to go viral online just for it to get attention. And look, I may be a content creator myself, but man, do I miss the old days where I could just watch an advertisement on my cable television or watch like a horror movie on cable television, and it would draw me in to going into like a movie store and renting the uncut version. Because let's be perfectly clear with ourselves. Not all channels had uncut horror. Like even TNT's Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs, they had to cut specific scenes from the theatrical release or the physical media release. So what did we do? We went to the movie store and we rented the damn thing, and we got to see it in its uncut glory. Sometimes with a director's cut in the middle of it. So you understand what I mean when I'm talking about horror, like, on cable television. It's just not there anymore. And it just feels so soulless these days. But anyways, thankfully we have outlets to still reminisce those times of those memories of cable television. Now, before I go, I conclude this video, I have almost 2 minutes worth of horror-themed commercials from back in the 90s and 2000s. So, here we go. Enjoy.
They don't sit, and you'll never heal. Three Dog Night, Atomic Dog, The Fury Within, and Cujo begins today at 5 on Sci-Fi.
Get ready for the Fox Friday Night Frights. First, a disaster in space
They're gonna burn up.
reveals an alien force here on Earth. The X-Files at a special time. Then, prepare yourself for a special presentation of Tales from the Crypt. Demi Moore discovers that marrying for money can be murder. And Arnold Schwarzenegger directs an episode that'll make your skin crawl. Tales from the Crypt after the X-Files. Friday starting at 8, 7 Central.
I wouldn't be caught dead anywhere else.
Hey, pretty funny movie, huh?
What are you, a nut? This is scary.
Scary? This isn't scary. If you want horror, you gotta go with the classics. Dracula, Frankenstein, The Wolf Man.
Ooh.
Spooky, huh?
Oh, they're cool. I could send one to my mother.
You'd mail these? These are special edition. You're really starting to freak me out.
Special edition stamps now at the post office. Some stamps you just can't lick.
Wanna go psycho with me, Elvira, here at the Bates Motel? Look for me wherever they sell mug root beer. And enter the Go Psycho with Elvira contest. You can be my guest at Universal Studios in Hollywood for a monstrous bash at the Bates Motel. Shower, anyone? This Halloween, go psycho with Elvira and win a party with mug root beer and me.
I love my mug.
I love it.
For years, they have been resting silently in peace. Only this October, the most famous monsters of all time aren't resting so peacefully. AMC's Monster Fest, the classics come alive. This October, no matter where you look, something will be looking back. Log on to amctv.com now and find yourself tangled in our web.
I bid you well.
It's AMC's Monster Fest Online, a fright site dedicated to Universal Studios classic movies that will make you scream with excitement. Dare creep onto amctv.com and you could win one of 100 DVD players or a luxurious 4-day trip for two to the world premiere of next summer's hottest movie, The Mummy Returns. Others won't be so lucky. And while you're there, creep around our haunted backlot and unearth buried goodies from the darkened vaults of Universal Studios.
There's a souvenir for you.
But the biggest thrills are yet to come. Alive.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Halloween weekend. Switch on your TV and stand back. The classics are dying to meet you. 5 days of classic monster movie marathon, hosted by Horrorwood's biggest fright fan, Whoopi Goldberg, and a special head-turning guest, Linda Blair. On air, online, all day, all fright. AMC's Monster Fest. The classics come alive.
Oh no. And they Heaven help you.
And that is it, everyone. I know this was completely just super short, but you know, most of my retrospectives are pretty short, like about 13 minutes or so, maybe not even that. But I promise you that the rest of this month, you're going to have a whole bunch of stuff coming your way on all of my platforms. Next Saturday, I will have another video up, and it will be every Saturday of this month. And so be ready for that. Stay tuned. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, press that hype button because I'm curious to see what happens with that. So until next time, I will see you next Saturday.